I got my socks fitted. You know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
I got my shoes high and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted. You know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
Homicidal clothes cause I'm dressed to kill. Leave 6 bitches oohing cause I'm worth a mill. Flow is ill, spitting no vomit spill. Killing them softly but I ain't Lauryn Hill. I'm a Beantown boy with a Trigger City mind state. Leaving whole surprise like they going on a blind date. Had that ass spinning, best believe that booty gyrate. Come fresh to the game so y'all lanes better migrate. Versatile cat so I flow on the South Beat. Spit so hard I fuck around and hurt my teeth. My vision stays clear, why y'all looking cloudy? Yeah I spit fire but misses don't doubt me. Jumping hard on tracks, call me steroided rabbit. Consistently murdering beats like a serial killer's habit. Drop his flow, so I took the game and stabbed it. Copy my style, but it's too hot for you to grab. I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.
Well, this is how we roll. As I take another pull from my Cohiba, overlooking green fields full of reefer. My suit say let it soul on my cufflinks. Similar to Jay-Z and Puffy. I ain't saying that I wanna be like them. I'm getting fat stacks while your paper so thin. Look within the eyes of a hustler. I need me a mansion so I can buy a butler. This is the classic, so put me in the classified. I'm extra fire, so she suck me like a pacifier. Old school Chevrolet, riding up the interstate. Bitches give me crazy love, niggas want a hard hit. Pussy nigga try me and you gon' get a scar face. Ain't no way I'm getting caught, that's gon' be a hard case. That baby girl, my 38, my trigger finger on the cake. Shoot you niggas in the face, you gon' see the pretty
I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll. Since a youngin', I knew I had the flow to succeed. Always kept my nose high, like trying to stop the bleed. Kept running, there was nothing in my way to impede. So ahead, it's safe to say there's no one after me. But I'm trying to rise up while you bathroom bitches sink. Hot like I'm in me, my aroma doesn't stink. Kept my eyes wide open while the blind bitches blink. Not one to have regrets, but my mind always thinks. I never gave a fuck at what them lames ever thought of me. Just kept doing what I do, cause that's just how it ought to be. Money on my mind, you can call it moneyology. You getting it out the ass, but I ain't talking side of me. Denver Bronco money, cause it just stays mile high. Whopping junior bitches, I don't beef with small fry. Little fingers on the side, cause you can't be this fly. Telling me keep my bread up.
So I threw my money in the sky.
Sandstorm. Hey, Wall. Classico, I see you. Hey. That's how we roll.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the long-awaited Season 2 of the Townie Sports Podcast. I am your host, Sammy. After a long break, a nice break, I am joined by none other, and I don't know who else I'd do a podcast with, my boy, the one and only Vic. Vic, how you doing? How was your break, man?
Just living the dream. It was a nice break. You know, got to relax, stretch my legs. Went on a few trips. Just happy to be back. Honestly, I didn't realize how much more I watch sports when we're doing this podcast. So definitely excited to get back into it and start to feel, get back into the swing of things. Basically, this feels like the first time for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know it kind of does. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. We had some things in the works that we were working on for everybody. I as well took a nice little vacation, took a week off from work and stuff like that. Got to travel a little bit, but we're back. We're in the full swing of things. We have some great things coming for everybody today. Just to give you a quick rundown, kind of what we're going to be going through today. We're going to talk about the NBA draft, get a little recap for everybody. I mean, we had some crazy stuff happen in NBA free agency that just happened within the last 2 hours. And then obviously a few days before this, the best, probably arguably the best MLB trade deadline we've seen in a long, long time. We're going to touch a little bit on some NFL, obviously our Bucks and Patriots. Vic, you're gonna give us the lowdown on the Gold Cup, and then we'll do a little bit of Olympic news. But yeah, that pretty much sums up kind of how we're going to go about today. So let's start it off, Vic. A little draft recap. Cade Cunningham goes number 1 to Detroit. That's your boy. Let's hear it.
I don't know if he's my boy, but he's definitely a great college player. And I think he's going to be a good pro. He's definitely a franchise-changing player. He's got smooth skills, and I think that he can shoot well from. He's going to be able to shoot well from the three. He shot about 41% in college. I think that translates to the NBA. But he's also bigger. Think of like a Ben Simmons who can shoot threes.
Right.
Now I'm not saying he's going to be Ben Simmons, but I'm saying that's kind of the mold. He has that same body type and the same skills. Another player I would compare him to would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on. So this is a huge get, and like I said, franchise changing. Hopefully for the Pistons, who already have a good core. Not they're not a great team, but they have good young players. Similar to how I feel about the Magic, actually, where both teams kind of have good young players and room for development. And I think Cade Cunningham is going to be a linchpin for that Pistons team moving forward.
Yeah, I like the pick there. A lot of people, pegging him as probably, favorite right now for rookie of the year. Obviously, if you go number 1 overall and you have kind of the college career that he had, you're going to be up there. But yeah, I think he's a good young player, and we'll see kind of how he pans out. I'm thinking about 13 and a half points per game his first year. But anyway, for us, the Celtics, Johan Begarin, I think I pronounced the name right, 18-year-old, 6'5" guard from France. I'm lost. I don't really know.
I'm glad you mentioned his name. Well, I did a little research, and I watched some YouTube videos. So he's an 18-year-old. He's about 6'5", from France. He's explosive. He's very fast. He can get downhill quick. His shot selection is poor. That's one of his big minuses there. He's a very streaky shooter too, kind of like a Terry Rozier, except he takes more mid-range shots, which is why that shot selection isn't as great. And his defense is lacking. So not a great defender. He should be better for his size. So maybe coming into the Celtics, getting in there with Marcus Smart, downloading those defensive fundamentals from Marcus Smart. And who knows? Maybe we have another backup point guard in the future here with him. I would be shocked because typically these second-round picks don't pan out. But I'm more disappointed with the Celtics not taking Sharif Cooper. He was there to be had, and he was actually ranked on the Ringers big board as the 23rd best prospect in the draft, and he went 48th to the Hawks. Just past us. I mean, I don't know. Danny's gone, and for some reason, they still piss me off on draft night. So,
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you look in late into the second, the second round. You're talking about a lot of project players, and I think this probably the pick here was like a pure, just raw athlete type talent pick with this kid from France. Right. But honestly, I'll be 100% honest. I didn't really know who else I would have wanted to take there. I would have just thrown a dart at a dartboard, and that's pretty much who you get at that spot. But
Cooper, he a college player. And now I think the reason that they didn't go there is I think this kid's going to be a draft and stash. I'm not sure if he committed to coming to the NBA this year.
Right.
So we already have an abundance of young guards on this team, and wing size players. So like I said, he's about 6'5", so he's got size to him. But we already have a Romeo Langford in that role. We already have Neesmith in that role. We have young players that can kind of be that two guard. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's like what's his name? The guy that's coming over from Israel. Where we drafted him 2 years ago. He's coming this year. So maybe just a draft and stash for the Celtics.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on a little bit. Give me some of your winners and losers from the NBA draft. Who are anybody that shocked you or anybody that you really liked?
Orlando Magic, for one. They were able to lock down Jalen Suggs, who I know we both loved, right? Especially watching him in the tournament. I mean, that last second shot that he had, and the kid has ice water in his veins. Between him and Cole Anthony on the floor, they have a really good backcourt there to start off with, do the Magic. But then picking up Franz Wagner with a 10th pick was I thought a good move as well. This is a big guy that can shoot threes. He can be impactful. I don't know if he's ever going to be a star, but the tools are there. He's a good perimeter shooter. He's got a good feel for the game. He averaged 13 points at Michigan on 38% shooting from three. It's pretty good for a 6'9" center / forward. So he's not very turnover prone too, which is very rare for a young player. So let's see what happens when he comes in the league. But I love him. I loved him in the draft, and I'm excited to see him in summer league. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. The Magic stole Suggs pretty much since the Raptors pretty much like Scotty Barnes better, which is it's no hit at Scotty Barnes. I personally, you and I both liked Suggs a lot more just because we were big Gonzaga, rooting for Gonzaga pretty much the whole tournament, and they were just stock loaded full of NBA ready talent. But yeah, I mean, you got Suggs there. He's a no-brainer. Magic, in my opinion, I think they got the more polished player, and they got him one pick later. So Barnes though has all the raw tools, so I'm not gonna bash the Raptors for not taking Suggs and taking Barnes, but Suggs was definitely a steal. What about? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Scotty Barnes is great, and he's another big Florida State wing. If you remember Jonathan Isaac coming out a few years back, so I don't know why, but I just pegged him as like a Jonathan Isaac type, where he's gonna do the same kind of stuff. I didn't watch him. I'll be honest, I didn't watch him much at Florida State, but I definitely think the Magic got the better pick there with Suggs, and What else can you say about the kid? The kid was on a winning program in Gonzaga. He's going to bring that mentality to the Magic. Like I said, they already have Cole Anthony. They got Markelle Fultz as well. They have now Jonathan Isaac hopefully comes back next year. But also they got two really good quality guys in the draft. So I'm excited for the Magic season this year. I think they're going to make a lot of progress. Not make the playoffs, but make a lot of progress towards that.
Yeah. One team that I thought a little bit of losers, and I know A-Rod's in the chat now, so what's up, A-Rod? And you guys should tune into the Fairweather pod. If you like our pod, they do a pod as well. The Knicks. I thought they passed on some better young talent to pretty much just move out of this year's draft. And I know they're kind of like one of those bubble playoff teams with a lot of like a huge amount of exuberant youth on that team. Yeah. But I think they passed on some current high upside that they could have just for future kind of question marks. I think they regret giving away Kai Jones. What about you?
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't understand what they're doing here. I mean, I think that their playoff run this year was an anomaly. I think they were an 8 seed at best. To be able to come out as an 8 seed, and then they got lucky and they ended up with the higher seed. I think it was the 5th or the 4th seed. But or I think it was the 5th, and they made a good playoff run. But I don't think that's going to continue next year. I think they should continue to build what they have. And I know that they're making a run at Fournier, and I think Alex just said in the chat that Fournier went there, but I don't see any confirmation here yet. So, but like I said, they did resign Nerlens Noel. Great. They also re-signed who was it, the other guy? Alec Burks. So they got both of those guys back. Now it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Derrick Rose. But I can't agree with what they did. I'm always about going for the good player, the best player in the draft, best player available in the draft, and they just traded both of them away.
Yeah. Any other losers you can think of from the draft?
No, just the Knicks. They suck. No, but no. In all seriousness, though.
And the Sixers. I mean.
But one more thing about definitely the Sixers. They wanted to get rid of Ben Simmons. They didn't. It's going to be extreme. There's no way they go into the season with Ben Simmons on that roster, right?
I don't think so. They can't.
I mean, after all the talk about them wanting to trade him, I would be shocked if he was still on. Well, I guess he has to be on the roster. Oh no, he doesn't. No. So yeah. So I think that they could end up. Could not end up starting the season with him. And I'm reading a tweet right now where it says the Warriors ended up rejecting a trade offer from the Sixers 4 Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and 4 first-rounders. That's what the Sixers wanted for Ben Simmons. I mean, there's nobody in the league that's going to pay that.
And this just in, Evan Fournier did agree to a deal with the New York Knicks worth $78 million over 4 years.
So what's the quick math on that, Sammy? So that's just under $20 million a year? Or so you said 3 years or 4 years?
4 years.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we weren't going to pay him that. I know Brad wants to keep cap space open for 2022.
Yep.
So I don't see us making any other big deals, big free agent deals. I know that Otto Porter is a possibility, as well as Patty Mills. And honestly, I'd love both of those guys. So
yeah. One last one I liked was obviously Corey Kispert to the Wizards. I thought that was a really sneaky play at 15. He's got top 10 talent, and the Wizards got him at 15. I think he'll be, if Beal stays, he'll be a nice little toy to have for Bradley Beal.
Another one of those Gonzaga guys that we loved.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. This is perfect segue with the Evan Fournier news, trades and free agency that have happened in the NBA. Okay. First and foremost, Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers, plus a 2024 second round pick, and a 2028 second round pick to the Los Angeles Lakers. And they give up Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and pick 22 from this year. What did you think about that?
No, I thought it was worth it. If you think Westbrook is the player that's going to put you over the top, then yeah, I think it's worth it. You know how I feel about Westbrook. I'm not a huge believer in him. I don't think that him going there is going to have a huge impact on this team. Do you think he's better than Dennis Schroeder?
Westbrook?
Yeah, Westbrook.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I mean, last season he did average 22 points. Last season he averaged, let's see here. I had it right here, pulling up. But I felt like last season was a down season because we didn't hear from him. But then when I remember looking at his stats earlier today, and here they got him up. Yeah, he averaged 22 points with 11 rebounds and 11 assists. So he averaged a triple-double last year, and I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I looked at it first. I was like, wow, but it's because he was playing in Washington. Nobody really, cared. My problem with him is his field goal attempts. Yeah. He had 19 field goal attempts a game. Those are 19 shots that were coming away from AD and LeBron. Now LeBron's been a great facilitator, but another red flag for me was his free throw percentage. Shot 65% last year, the lowest of his career. Hopefully that's not a trend. Typically he's usually in the mid 70s. Earlier in his career, he was a mid-80s free throw shooter, but that's a significant decrease from last year where he shot 26%. We'll see what happens with Russell Westbrook, but I think it's an apples to apples. Schroeder for Westbrook, the switch.
Yeah, and honestly, we'll just see how it all works out with LeBron. I mean, we can all sit here and say, oh, it's not going to work with LeBron. It's not going to work with LeBron. But the guy proves us wrong year after year, gets whoever he wants, assembles a team together, and ends up making a deep run. This year, obviously, is more of the exception to the rule. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and then so in other news, our boys, the Boston Celtics, got Josh Richardson from the Mavericks. They also got Chris Dunn and Bruno Fernando in a 3-team trade. So we send Moses Brown to Dallas. We send Tristan Thompson to Sacramento. What were your initial thoughts on that?
So I want to go back because I don't think we talked about the Horford trade yet, right? We weren't on the.
Oh, no.
So I want to go back and I want to talk about that Horford trade.
Oh, we did. Remember we had an emergency pod.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. It feels like years ago. Jesus.
Yeah.
Glad to have Al back. I think that was the foundational piece. Brad really went on tilt here. And like I said, you can definitely see he's trying to clear up cap space for that 2022 free agent class. Now, as far as Richardson goes, I think he's a solid player. I think he's our Fournier replacement for this year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is fine. He's not as quality as a player currently, or he wasn't last year as Fournier, but he can be.
I think he can be.
He's a player that needs minutes, which it is what it is. But last year, if you look at his percentages, so he shot 39% from the field. That's not great. but 30% from three. That's terrible. That's terrible. So, and that was in the playoffs. So I got regular season for you as well here. So during the regular season in Dallas, he shot. What the heck is this? Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is his 3-point percentage has been terrible these last few years in Dallas. Now, if he can regain,
which I did mention mid-season last year, we can go back to the pod, and I was talking about Jay Rich has been super disappointing for the Mavericks.
Yeah, I remember you saying it, and it's ever since he got there. Because in Miami, those first 2 years, you remember he was like a cornerstone to that team. I'm surprised, that he's fallen so far from grace. Now I have his stats for you. Okay, so he shot 43% from the field last year, which is decent, for a guard.
And to mention, I'm pretty sure he brought that up from where he was mid-season. When we were talking about it and going over our rankings from preseason.
Yeah, and the thing that gives me hope is he shot a career high 91% free throw percentage last year as well. He averaged 12 points a game in 30 minutes, which is not bad. That's something that we need. We need a guy that we can have run the offense while the Jays aren't in there. So I think it's a good pickup. I'm most excited for the Chris Dunn pickup. So I love Chris Dunn. Always have, always will. I'm still a believer. And I think in Chicago he didn't really get a fair shake because he's not that player. He came in, everybody expected him to be the franchise changer. Because I remember he was a high lottery pick.
Yeah.
When he came, I think he was the 5th pick in the 2016 draft. And I remember you telling me about him because he went to Providence. And you're like, oh, it's Providence. He's going to be good. So, I'm excited for Chris Dunn. How about you? And Tristan Thompson's gone. Those are the two.
Yeah. No, I'm really interested to see how Josh Richardson plays out. You're more excited about Chris Dunn, but I'm more interested in the potential for Josh Richardson. I mean, recency bias tells me he's not going to be good because you look at what he did last season. It was kind of really subpar for his standards compared to what he did in Miami. But I think with a different type of role that he has here, because if you look at how the Dallas team was my team, as we talked about all last year, was that team that I picked as being kind of a sneaky team. They ended up disappointing. And I thought Josh Richardson was kind of stuck in this limbo where he was a number 2 because Porzingis just wasn't healthy enough all season. So he had to kind of be a number 2 player. And I think that just wasn't a right fit for him. So I think here he's going to be more of that 3, 4, maybe, the 5th scorer guy, like you mentioned, off the bench to come in and give some minutes for that second team. And I think that kind of more fits his role. Now, if he can come in and be another type of 3-and-D guy, I will be 100% happy about it.
No, that'd be awesome. I would love that. If he still comes in and scores 12 points a game, I'm more than happy with that.
James Posey.
And one more thing. Yeah, I'm good with that. And Chris Dunn only played 4 games last year for Atlanta, so let's not hate on him.
No, I'm not.
Much. But I'm excited for this new team coming forward. I love that how Horford's back, and I feel like the team's going to really respond well to Horford. And Horford's going to get these new guys in there and kind of take them under his wings. So, I'm more excited. I'm more excited this season than I was last season, I would say.
Yeah. I think I'm tempering my expectations, but like you, I think they have all the talent and the pieces to overachieve. So we'll see.
I'm not saying by any means I see them winning the NBA finals, but I think we can make another deep playoff run and maybe get to the conference finals or at least the second round. Yeah. And if we get one of these free agents like Otto Porter that's been rumored, or Patty Mills, or I heard Patrick Beverly was rumored as well. I'm sorry, not Patrick Beverly, the other guy, the guy from Boston College that I always get.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson, the other guy was there. But yeah, I would love any of those guys. So if we can sign one of those guys with what we already have, I'm confident moving forward. We have a playoff team for sure.
Yeah. Let's keep moving this along. So Ricky Rubio was traded to the Cavs. At first I thought it was kind of confusing, but then with the Evan Mobley draft pick, I'm like, oh, that could be kind of sneaky fun to watch, and a center with a really high IQ passing point guard. I think that'll be fairly interesting. And then another one that was really interesting: Landry Shamet to Phoenix for the 29th pick and Javon Carter. What did you think about that?
Oh, I mean, it's just like, how do you feel about Landry Shamet? Because there's two camps on him. You know, he was great when he was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And he didn't really fill the role for Brooklyn. But Brooklyn's another team that could have easily been one of your winners. You know, from the draft night. They're not a team that necessarily needs a veteran starter. So why not get younger and then go cheaper?
Yeah.
So I think it's a win. I think that's definitely a win for Brooklyn, and it makes me furious because as if they needed to get better.
Yeah, and I thought it was a win for Phoenix as well, especially now that we found out Chris Paul is staying. So now they add another shooter, which Shamet is a career almost 40% three-point shooter and plays some decent defense, and he's a little bit taller of a guard. So, I mean, we'll see if this young core with Chris Paul staying for another 4 years can get over the hump and win. I mean, that's the next news. Chris Paul staying in Phoenix, 4 years, $120 million.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
you got $120 million.
That guy keeps getting paid.
Jesus, good for him, man. That's awesome. You know, I'll tell you, out of all the deals that have happened so far, Sammy, which one's the one that has surprised you the most? Yeah, I'll tell you mine first, since I know you got to think about it. But mine has to be how little the Pelicans got back for Lonzo Ball, and that they chose not to match that offer, because honestly, they're not going to do anything better than that.
No, I actually didn't even see what the trade was because I was out running my 6 miles because I got a race this weekend. So I didn't actually. I saw that they did a sign and trade for Lonzo Ball, but I didn't see what the return was.
Yeah, they ended up getting what's his name? They got Garrett Temple and the point guard
Kobe White.
Saturansky.
Oh, Saturansky.
Yeah. So
wow, that's it.
What a haul! Oh, and a second round pick, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a shocker.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough take.
And then so we got Kyle Lowry, got a 3-year deal in the works with Miami. That was probably one of the bigger shockers for me, considering how young that team is, and they decided to go with Kyle Lowry. Yeah. And that just goes to show that, you know, they were one of those teams that were saving for the Giannis deal, like the sweepstakes for Giannis, and ended up not working out. So then they have this money that they have to spend on cap space for Kyle Lowry. I'm interested to see 3 years. I'm thinking in the same range as Lonzo, about 85, but obviously it's going to be more per year.
Oh, for sure. No, I didn't. I saw the Kyle Lowry news. Did you see who's going back to Toronto?
No,
I didn't see that either. So
they were just talking about it. They didn't say like what the final numbers or the final trade pieces were going to be yet.
Oh, for Lowry, you mean? He got 3 years, 90.
Oh, he got 90. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, as expected, I guess. You know, he's a good veteran point guard. He is 35 years old. He averaged
and he
17.
Plays like he's 80, but
he does. But he plays like a freaking bowling ball, dude.
He does.
I still haven't seen who Miami sent back, but I'm excited. Miami's a good team. I don't think they're going to be in finals contention, but they're starting to put something together there. I know Jimmy Butler re-upped there as well, I believe. Signed an extension, max extension. So
max extension, yep.
It's like the Heat just never go away, and I feel like they get any free agent they want. They're like the Lakers; they get any free agent they want.
Yeah, they can. That's what happens when you live in Miami, man.
Yep.
All right. So sticking with some free agents and trades and all that stuff and frenzies, let's go to the MLB.
Yeah.
We had and we just witnessed the greatest trade deadline in MLB history. So the Cubs had a fire sale. Got rid of Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Craig Kimbrell, Javier Baez, and Jake Marisnick. The Nationals pretty much had a fire sale. Got rid of Scherzer and Turner and Schwarber. What were your thoughts immediately after all this stuff like transpired over the weekend?
I thought that Washington was resetting. Yeah.
I think they played each other on Sunday or something like that. Both the Cubs and the Nationals. They had like nobody on their teams.
I don't know, like, what were they like? Maybe they had like a conference and they were like, "Hey, like, we're about to play each other. Let's just like blow this thing up." The thing about they actually got the Cubs actually got a pretty good haul back for what they sent out. I know they got a pretty high prospect for Javi Baez.
Yep.
I know they got Nick Madrigal and Cody Hewer back for Craig Kimbrell.
Yep.
Decent. Another prospect that they got was Alexander Canario in the Chris Bryant trade, who is a good prospect. He's currently hitting 235 in low A, but he's only 21 years old. Mm-hmm. And then also Caleb Killian in that same trade, where he was the 8th pick, or an 8th round pick in 2019, and in this season so far in Double-A, he has a 2.43 ERA over 11 starts with 64 strikeouts. So those are the big ones there. I know they also gave away Anthony Rizzo to the Yankees, which made me furious. I was hoping he was coming back home, but they got 2 decent prospects there. Both very young. This guy, is 24 and still in low A, so good. But the other guy is 19, is 6'6" apparently. And I was just reading about it, and is batting 360 with a home run right now in rookie ball. So
the Cubs got a decent return for pretty much their entire World Series team, if you think about it.
Definitely the core, yeah.
Yeah, definitely the core. Anthony Rizzo to the Yankees kind of bummed me out, but then when I saw what the Red Sox ended up doing for Kyle Schwarber, wasn't that upset. But before we get to that, the Dodgers loaded up, man. Yeah. And not to be funny here, but if you go on MLB The Show and you look at the Dodgers starting team, it's all diamond players. They just loaded up, added Max Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Yep.
And this dude, in my opinion, it's win or nothing. Like, this team, they put all of the pressure on themselves. Now, any other team, no other team has this much pressure now. Now it's just, we're just playing for second place, and they have to win. And if they don't, this is a huge bust, and they have to really reconsider what they just did, especially with Max Scherzer coming off being 30, I think he's 31 or 30 years old right now. Yeah. So a lot of innings under his belt as well. So, and from what I heard, the Dodgers were making this trade with all hopes to keep him. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And first off, let me just touch on this. So one of the guys that the Nationals got back, Josiah Gray, is actually a future star card. And
he is a future star card.
So I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, then he must be a good prospect. But with Trey Turner coming over to the Dodgers, I wonder what that means for Corey Seager's extension.
Yeah.
Do they resign Seager? Does he stick around long term? Will Trey Turner be moving to second? Will Seager be moving to second? Where are these guys going to fit on the field? Because as we both know, the National League does not have a DH. Right. I know Mookie played second last night, so to me that tells me that Mookie's just kind of holding that spot for Turner until he comes back. He has yet to make his debut because he's currently in COVID protocol. So once he does make his debut, I'm excited to see where he ends up playing. But they definitely have a lot of depth there now with young guys that are in their prime right now. All these guys are in their prime. So good for the Dodgers. I don't know how they keep getting these trades, man. I mean, how many prospects do these guys have? They got Mookie Betts. They got Trey Turner. They have 2 Turners on the team that are both great players now. So, and that rotation's still filthy too. So, congrats on the Dodgers on winning the 2021 World Series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it from this perspective as well. I think if the Trevor Bauer stuff wasn't happening, I don't think the Dodgers would even push and add more people out of their farm for the Max Scherzer deal. So I think the Trevor Bauer situation kind of pushed them to go that route. So there's that. I mean, that could be a little off, and they could have just wanted to load up again, kind of like the Phillies did back in 2009 or whatever it was, because that would just be stupid having Kershaw, Bauer, and Scherzer, and Bueller. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the Bauer situation pushed them to make that Scherzer deal. Um,
Mhm.
But going forward, the Yankees,
Mhm.
they did they load up? I don't really know how to judge that.
They
I'm
got better.
upset about Anthony Rizzo, but I mean,
So they definitely got better. I mean, you can't say that, adding how many home runs is it total? So it's like 16 home
39.
runs from Rizzo and 25 from Joey Gallo isn't going to be an upgrade. But I don't think they addressed their need with Anthony Rizzo, who's batting currently, I believe
Yeah.
it's like 255 or 256. Because the Yankees currently have one of the worst batting averages in the league.
Yeah.
So currently the Yankees are 20. Where are they at for a batting average? They are currently, let's see here, batting average. I know that they were near the bottom. I want to say low 20s, and I'll tell you for sure in a second here. 21. So they're 21st in the league in batting average. Compare that with the other teams in the AL East. You have the Toronto Blue Jays at 2, the Boston Red Sox at 4, and then the Rays at 23. So the Red Sox and Blue Jays have been good, but their strikeout rate is still high as well. Anthony Rizzo, better, the 50% strikeouts for Rizzo, whereas Joey Gallo is on the other end of the spectrum, much worse. His K percentage is around 32% between his two teams currently this season. But he's typically a higher strikeout player, only batting 217, but every time he touches the ball, it's out of the park. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Anthony Rizzo pre-deadline, 248 batting average, 14 home runs, and a 792 OPS. I mean, you think about Anthony Rizzo, you think about a lot higher than that. Those aren't Anthony Rizzo numbers. And then you look at Joey Gallo, again, like you mentioned, 223 batting average. This is pre-deadline, 223 batting average, 25 home runs, and an 869 OPS. So slightly better. And like you mentioned, with the OPS being a little bit higher, every time he does hit the ball, it does go very far. So I think the Joey Gallo deal made more sense, in my opinion, than the Anthony Rizzo deal did.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that they did answer a need, because I think they did need that at first base.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think, in my opinion, this is a perfect segue. I think the Red Sox won in their deal because they added Schwarber. And if you look at his stats pre-deadline in only 72 games, mind you, the other two were 92 and 95 games. In
Right.
Schwarber in 72 games, 253 batting average, 25 home runs, and a 910 OPS. So I think the Red Sox paid less and got a better bat.
No, I agree, and I think that the Yankees adding Anthony Rizzo was more of an addition by subtraction, because that means that they don't need to play Luke Voit anymore.
Yeah,
strikeout.
That's fair. But I don't think it's that much better. I don't think Rizzo is Rizzo of old. I mean, he could prove me wrong. I mean, he came in and he's had 13 plate appearances and 2 bombs. So I mean,
yeah. I mean, Rizzo is playing.
Yankees.
I mean, he has a higher batting average this season than he did last season. Obviously, COVID, but still lower. But everybody's lower this year. He's got 16 home runs through this part of the season. I think that's obviously going to go up in the Yankee Stadium. So I'm excited to see where this AL East race goes. I don't, and their pitching still isn't great either. Too. That's the weird thing. They didn't really go after pitching or starting pitchers.
I thought they would be the first people in on Scherzer, the first people on Barrios. But I mean, when you look at the haul for Barrios, then you're like, okay, that's why nobody else was really in the running for that one.
Yeah. No, for sure. And also other pitchers that were rumored, right, that didn't move. Marquez. That's a guy that
I think that was another one that they wanted a large haul for him because he was having a good year at Rockies Park. So
yeah.
And also to think about too from the Sox perspective, not only did we add the best power hitter, but you look at what the Yankees had to do and the Blue Jays both had to do to match what the Red Sox are doing. Mind you, the Red Sox still have Chris Sale coming back, which I know you'll roll your eyes at me. We have Brazier coming back. Marwin Gonzalez is still on the mend, and Christian Arroyo is all coming back. So all these other teams had to make these moves, whereas the Red Sox really didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the move for Schwarber. He can play in the outfield. He can play a little bit at first as well, but also DH. An interesting thing that I was looking at is that most of his hits, 29 of his total, I believe it's 67 hits or so, were pulled. So he's definitely a pull hitter, but also there's a short porch there in short and right field there at Fenway. So, I think that's gonna help him. Obviously, his month of June was just unreal. We cannot expect that of him moving forward. So he's incredible. He had 16 home runs in the month and batted 280. Yeah. I think his career average is something that we can kind of look forward to, which is still not a bad player, like around mid 200 average, with about 30 to 20 something bombs.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how this all plays out with the MLB trade deadline. The AL East race is real tight. The NL West is going to be super tight. We're going to see how the White Sox end up imploding. And then we'll also see if the Mets can make a push in the playoffs as well. But yeah, let's get to some news, man, or let's get to a little bit of a preview. For the next few weeks, everybody that's watching right now, Vic and I are going to be breaking down all of the divisions for the NFL to prep you for the NFL coming up, because that's in 4 weeks, man. We got football coming our way. So we're going to start off with our teams that are close to our heart, the Patriots and the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
What do you got? Let's start with the Patriots, Vic. Let me go through the additions and the subtractions. So obviously the Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Matt Judon, Jalen Mills, Kyle Van Noy, Mac Jones, Christian Barmore, Ronnie Perkins, Cameron McGrone. I only threw that in there because there's a lot of word that he's going to make a lot of starts or a lot of plays at linebacker. Davin Gaucho and Teddy Karras. And then we lost, obviously, Julian Edelman and Pat Chung to retirement, and then Jason McCourty has also gone elsewhere. So a lot of really good additions on this Patriots team. What are your expectations for the Pats this season?
Oh, don't forget we also lost Dante Moncrief, but the good thing is we did sign Cody Davis back, so we have him. James White came back, which, like you said, is huge. I love the Jalen Mills move. I think that's definitely going to fill that Chung void.
Yeah.
And as much as
play some corner too, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then on top of that, we also added Aguilar from the Raiders, who actually was pretty good last year. Didn't drop as many balls as he used to. Got Trent Brown, which is great. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith are the big ones for me. So that's going to determine whether or not this offseason has been a success. Obviously, everybody can see it. Belichick wants to run that 2 tight end system that he had when he had Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. Obviously, neither of these players are either of their caliber. This is not, Hunter Henry's not prime Gronk, and Jonnu Smith is not Aaron Hernandez. But if we can get a version of what that should have been, I think the Pats are in line to make the playoffs this year. And you know what? Don't sleep on Cam Newton coming back either. I think he starts this season as the starter, and to be honest with you, I think he holds on to it the whole season. I don't see McDaniels rushing to get off of Cam Newton in favor of Mac Jones. Honestly, I'm not impressed by Mac Jones. And I've said this from the beginning. I didn't like the pick. I'm rooting for him, but I don't see it working out. I wish they would have traded up for the Ohio State kid, but I'll take what we have in Cam Newton, and I hope Cam Newton stays the starter this year and is our starter for the next 10 years.
Yeah. I think we saw a lot of good things from the Patriots last year. We saw a pretty solid defense. We saw an offense that looked okay for the first few games, but then pretty much crumbled before our eyes because of the lack of talent. As soon as Julian Edelman went down, there was literally nothing else on that offense to actually function. Yeah. So I think for us this year, Patriots fans, this is going to be a fun bridge year, in my opinion. I think this was Bill's plan all along. And if you look at kind of a lot of the bulk of kind of where he added a lot of key defensive players in those key spots that he really, really likes and he really utilizes. Right. Not to mention he got a lot of cheap talent, like cheap offensive talent. Besides the 2 tight ends, that's that was an anomaly. We can't really explain that. We were both shocked when that happened, and we're happy it happened. But yes, he does want to run the 2 tight end sets. And to your point, we did get 2 of probably the top 5 tight ends in the league on one team, which is really helpful. But I think, in my opinion,
you think they're both top 5 tight ends?
Hunter Henry could be, but he's never healthy.
I mean,
when he is healthy, he's definitely a top 5 tight end.
I think Hunter Henry is the only one that's top 5. I don't think Johnny Smith is top 5.
I think Johnny Smith can be. He just wasn't used right.
Yeah, talent-wise, I guess he could be. But yeah. I'm excited, like you said, I'm excited to see what these guys can do together. I think Bill's going to figure it out. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I think this is it for Cam Newton. I think this is like the Dodgers. This is it. You have the talent. The Patriots gave you the longest of leashes, which rarely ever happens under Bill Belichick. You had all of last year to recover. Hopefully there's no, any more residual effects from COVID, because I know he got COVID. But I mean, as far as recovering from the surgeries that he had, full training camp now, because last year he didn't really have a full training camp. So this year he's got a full training camp. He's got these guys. He's been working out with all these wide receivers and tight ends in the offseason, which was awesome. So I think last season he got a huge pass, but I think with this whole new set of assets at his disposal, like, we better see, or we're probably going to see, the best Cam Newton we've seen in a while. And we all know how good Cam Newton is when his tight ends are very good.
Right. And but hey, let's not sleep on Trey Nixon either, from UCF, who was drafted in the 7th round.
I was going to throw that in just for you.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, he's going to be good.
And this is just a random thought. This was one of those thoughts that I usually have on my runs while I'm listening to podcasts and stuff like that.
Sure.
So with the 49ers drafting Trey Lance, do you think Bill knew that this would be a bridge all along, just to bring Jimmy Garoppolo back next year? I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm going to let it simmer. And
because then he wouldn't have spent such a high pick for Mac Jones. Or maybe he's going to trade Mac Jones for Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows?
We could trade for him. I don't know.
Hey, whatever. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Mac Jones. I hope he's not. I don't know. I hope he works out, but I'm not optimistic.
So let's sum it up, right? Or let's conclude it a little bit for the Patriots. I think with the team, the defense, I think winning 12 games, if everybody is healthy, is 100% possible. Realistically, I think 10. What do you think?
10 wins is what you said. That's your expectation, or is that your high expectation?
That's my expectation. My high expectation is 12.
My expectation is 6.
6 wins.
My high expectation is 16-0. But
you're on like 2 different spectrums right now.
I think this team is either going to be really good or they're going to suck. No, in all seriousness, I can see them being a 12-win team. I can, but I think they finished like 8-8 in that area. I don't think they get over. Or 18. I don't think they get over 500. Oh, it's actually so 9-8.
9-8.
Yeah, I mean, just barely over 500. Maybe sneaking in the playoffs. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
9 wins, 10 wins. We both think, that's about a fair assessment.
I don't think our division got better. I'll say that. I don't think anybody in our division got significantly better.
And I think our defense got better.
Oh, that's true.
I think our defense got better. And we had a pretty good defense. Our offense just couldn't move the ball.
Both sides got better. Yeah. But I'm not expecting Buffalo to make a huge leap. Honestly, I think we can. There's a shot where we win the division next year with like.
So 10. You right now don't think this team is 3 more wins than last year? Because remember, we won 7 games last year.
And there's an extra game there. I guess when you put it that way, yeah, it kind of does make sense. So yeah. I mean, I can see them around 9 or 10 wins. Yeah.
Okay.
But
10 to 12 wins. 9 to 12 wins is what we think. That's a little bit closer than 16-6.
Yeah. I was capping.
All right, let's go to the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Buccaneers. Let's talk about their additions. Pretty much everybody stayed. Tag Chris Godwin. Got Gio Bernard back. Got Joe Tryon, which everybody's really high on, rookie linebacker. Kyle Trask, rookie quarterback, to learn under Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that worked. Then they lost Antonio Brown and LaShawn McCoy. I mean, Brown might hurt a little bit, but I don't see significantly. What do you think about the Buccaneers?
I don't think they got better or worse. I think they kind of stayed the same. Literally, they added everybody back except for Antonio Brown. Godwin got franchised, so good on him there. They re-signed all the main people they needed to re-sign. So Shaq Barrett needed to come back. You need to get Levante David back because let's be honest, Tom Brady was excellent last year, but the reason they won the Super Bowl was because of that defense.
Yeah.
And they brought all those guys back. So I think they're gonna. I mean, it's hard to improve on already being the best team, right?
Right.
So they stay the same, and I think they're going to make a similar run this year. I think last year they overachieved by winning the Super Bowl, but you never count Tom Brady out. Ever. And I think they're going to be in the same spot next year where they're going to have a chance to win the NFC Championship. Until a team can beat Tom Brady in the playoffs, I'm not convinced that it's possible.
Fair. So yeah, I think I'm on the same boat as you. Pretty much the entire Super Bowl team is back. New Orleans lost Drew Brees, so that division should be pretty easy. Plus, they got a full season now with Tom. We saw a lot of kinks in the beginning of the season as far as how that offense ran. But I think now that we should probably see an even better Tom Brady than last year, which to me is really scary. Like that we always see this with Tom. First year with somebody maybe not as good, but the next year he's just unbelievable. My expectations are 13 to 14 wins. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 13, 14 wins. They definitely run away with the division. There's nobody in that division that even comes close. Obviously, the Saints, like you said, lost Drew Brees. The Carolina Panthers are going to probably experiment with starting the guy from New York who did so well, Sam Darnold. Yeah. And Atlanta might be there, like lingering, but only because they have Matt Ryan. Right. Other than that, I don't see anybody else in that division challenging the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think they have an easy road to the NFC Championship game. All
right. But yeah, everybody, just to let you know, for the next few weeks, we will be doing way more in-depth coverage on this NFL. This was just a brief preview of, two of our favorite teams, just to give you guys just a little bit of taste of some NFL talk, kind of as we go forward through season 2 of Townie Sports. So Vic, going on to the next thing, the CONCACAF Gold Cup wrap-up. Mexico versus USA. Obviously, the U.S. men's national team did amazing last night. Give it to us, man.
So, wow. A lot of emotions for me after that game, for sure. Pre-game, I had no faith that we would even be in position to win this game. And to be honest with you, I'm just so excited about the growth in this team that our so-called B squad was able to take down mostly, a full Mexican team. And if you really look at the squad that Mexico put out there, I mean, who's missing? Probably Chicharito, who I believe is playing in the Olympics, and Diego Lainez. So a few guys there. So I think U.S. is now at the top of the CONCACAF standings in terms of power rankings. I think that this is just a glimpse into the future. I mean, if we can put out legitimately, if we can put out a second squad that can beat Mexico, and let's be honest, in a Mexican home game, it was in Las Vegas, and why the United States Soccer Federation continues to put cup finals in places like Las Vegas, Texas, California. Build a stadium in Alaska and have every cup final in Anchorage. All right. So our guys can see what home support feels like. I mean, it really is egregious. But needless to say, our guys won, and they're young guys. I think the average age on that team was like 20 something. Our back line was made up of a 21-year-old and a 24-year-old who had single digit caps for the USMNT.
I'll be honest, the only guy I knew was Zardes. So
And he's like the worst player on that team. I hate Josh Zardes. But if you really look down to it, look at the final here. So if you look at the Gold Cup as a whole, right? Some guys that stood out. Miles Robinson, of course, the 24-year-old defender from Atlanta United, who I guarantee you will not be playing in the MLS next year. This guy is definitely going overseas. I mean, he just had a phenomenal tournament. Obviously, the game winner sealed it for him, but he played every minute. Him and Matt Turner, the goalkeeper, were the only players to play every single minute of the Gold Cup for the United States. Man, Matt Turner was phenomenal. He was the goalkeeper of the Gold Cup, best goalkeeper he won at the Gold Cup. And at 27 years of age, he is another young goalkeeper like Ethan Horvath, like Zach Steffen. These guys are going to start challenging each other, and Greg Berhalter is going to have decisions to make come World Cup qualifying in September. I want to see what team he's going to put out there. I mean, obviously, there's the guys that aren't moving. It's Dest, Pulisic, the guy from Juventus who's been crushing it, and Weston McKennie, and Kellen Acosta, another one that had an amazing tournament, and honestly was a bubble guy for the United States men's national team. At the beginning of the year, hadn't been called up in 2 years, came back this year, and really I think has cemented his place in that starting 11. Even with the other guys there. Gio Reyna is another one that's probably going to not be moving anywhere, but at least we got to see DK play as well. Daryl DK. He had a decent tournament, 2 goals throughout the tournament, which everybody expected. I think he was injured in the Qatar game because he did not come out and play at all during Mexico, which I was surprised about. And even the announcers during the game kept hinting that he would be coming in. But let me stop going bigger picture here and just drill down to this final. Okay, the United States had possession of the ball 36% of the time during the final. That's not what this game felt like. It was that possession led to possession stat there is because of the style of play that the United States was playing. They were playing honestly a counterattacking style where they were letting El Tree come down on them, and then they would just take that ball and run up with it. They had so much speed, and you could tell at the end of the game, a lot of those Mexican players were huffing and puffing, and the U.S. was just taking advantage of it. I was trying to find the second half possession stats compared to the first half possession stats, because there were 2 big changes that Berhalter made after halftime that I feel like changed the course of the game, and that was bringing in James Sands and Sam Bynes and Shaq Moore at the right and left back positions. They were really solidified that. Reggie Cannon and George Bello had some difficulty with Dos Santos, Alvarez, and Herrera on the wings. And honestly, that's fine. George Bello, he's like 18 years old, so that's to be expected. But Reggie Cannon, this is a guy that was a favorite to be a starter on the A squad. Needs to be better. I think Reggie Cannon, had a good tournament, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the starting 11 for the United States men's national team, A team, I should say, and during World Cup qualifying. Jozy Zardes again comes back into the fold, does his thing. But Matthew Hoppe, a guy that plays out in Europe, he plays for Schalke over in Germany. Had a good season at Schalke. Another young guy, Hoppe, only 20 years old. That's the main thing about the Gold Cup and this game and final. My final point here is I'm so excited about the United States men's national team. Actually, we've always said it. Like I remember back to when there was Freddie Adu's, right? The next big American hope. This guy's gonna put us on the map. Or even more recently, Julian Green. This is the guy that's gonna put us over the hump. And then honestly, we were all just lying to ourselves. And it wasn't until this moment that I realized that, and that we actually have that team now. This is a golden generation, and it continues to get more gold. And I look forward to World Cup qualifying in September. And I'm just, what can I say? What else can I say about it but that? That's it.
Well, so what do you think about Mexico and USA for the World Cup qualifying? Got a hot take for us?
Yeah, I'll give you a hot take here. So I think Mexico, I think they're starting to go down the decline. I don't see them, dominating like they once did, especially against the United States, but against other teams during the competition as well. They had trouble a few times, and they were relying on late goals to win the games. And I guess so did the United States. But let's be honest, the United States was only scored on once during the Gold Cup. How ridiculous is that?
That's crazy.
They only gave up one goal during the entire tournament. Whereas Mexico, they barely beat Canada in the last minute there, and they had trouble early with other teams during the Gold Cup. But Salvador, I know, is a team that they barely beat 1-0. But I mean, that's insane. Only give up one goal during a whole tournament. But these are definitely the two cream of the crop. Another team to look out for in CONCACAF, Sammy, would be Canada.
Yeah.
I think that they're on the come up as well. But it's because of the ascent of teams like Canada, Jamaica, Honduras,
Right.
that I feel like I feel like Mexico is going to have difficulty qualifying. And if they do qualify, it will be on the last match day of World Cup qualifying, similar to what happened to the U.S. in 2018.
All right. You heard it here first. Really, really great things happening right now for the U.S. men's national team for soccer. Everybody should be tuned in. This is 2 cups in a row that they've won. They're on a roll. They're dominating their continent, and they're looking to take their talents to Qatar next year.
Yes.
So moving on to some more USA talk with the Olympics going on right now. So currently we got the medal count with China leading with 62 total medals, 29 of them being gold, and USA with 64 medals and 27 of them being gold. Some key disappointments. Obviously, the Simone Biles news over the last few weeks with her case of what she calls the spins, and just to give people kind of a lowdown on what that means. It's kind of like the yips. And because with gymnastics being, you're being pretty much life-threatening when you're doing moves in the air like that at such great speeds, it can really, shake you if you aren't feeling comfortable. And then another one to mention that kind of disappointed, at least me, was one of the gold hopefuls that I had talked about prior, or in about a month or so ago, was Trayvon Brumell in the 100-meter. Did not even make it into the finals. He's the #1 ranked 100-meter runner. And we ended up getting silver. Fred Curley kind of came out of nowhere and won and got silver for the USA, and Italy ended up taking a 100-meter final anyway. And then another one, this was really weird. The U.S. women's soccer team lost the semifinal match yesterday to Canada, and they're playing Australia, I believe, today or tomorrow for the bronze. So that was really disappointing. That's another team that we thought was a shoo-in, for the gold medal. I don't know if it's a little bit of age or if it's all these other teams are kind of stepping up and USA feels like they have more to lose from their players' perspective or some of these other women. But I also think it also goes towards how a lot of these clubs are putting a lot more emphasis and money into their women's team. So we are seeing, a lot more growth of different countries having more players for women's soccer and a larger pool to pull from. But before I end the Olympics discussion, tons of track athletes coming for the USA. So this should put our gold count and our medal count a lot higher. We got Sydney McLaughlin, of course, 400-meter hurdles, and also Delilah Muhammad. They should go 1-2 or 1-3. We got Michael Norman and Michael Cherry in the 400-meter final. Ryan Benjamin, this one. If you guys don't watch any other race, please watch the 400-meter hurdle final. The winner of the final will most likely have to challenge the world record to win. He's against this guy, Karsten Warholm. That guy's a beast. Ryan Benjamin's a beast of the U.S. It's gonna be an intense race. Then we have Athing Mo and Raven Rogers for the women's 800-meter final. Then, of course, can't forget Noah Lyles and Arion Knighton in the men's 200-meter final. Those guys are beasts. And then if you've never seen it, you've probably seen the video of Grant Holloway when he's doing the 100-meter hurdles and his head's not even moving, and it just shows him striding. He is the favorite to win the 110-meter hurdles. And last but not least, Clayton Murphy in the 800-meter final will probably get smoked by Chariot, but who cares? We have a USA man in the 800-meter final.
Who's Chariot? Where is he
He's
from?
a guy from Ethiopia.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing about
the thing about Chariot is he was number 2 in the world, and number 1 was Donovan Brazier, who ended up not making it to the Olympics, which is very strange. He had injuries before the trials and stuff.
Yeah. That's tough. And then something I wanted to add about U.S. women's soccer. They actually fired their head coach today too.
That's new.
And you know what? Another thing I wanted to ask you, is going back to the Gold Cup. I think Tata Martino, the coach of Mexico, is also getting fired. I would be surprised if he made it to World Cup qualifying. To be honest with you, losing 2 trophies to the United States is not good.
Almost back to back too, right?
Yes, like within a matter of months. And honestly, also like to our A squad and then to our B squad. And our B squad beat you without a PK.
Yeah. All right. So one last thing I wanted to touch on, some quick transfer talk. Obviously, a lot of this stuff happens really rapidly, and not all of it's going to be like perfect news. Manchester United added Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho. Both of them, they got them at a crazy bargain. It pisses me off. I hate Manchester United, and they got 2 very good players. One solidifies their defense. One adds youthful exuberance to that midfield and offense. And United should probably make a push for top of the table this season, which is going to be for the first time in a very long time. And then obviously Manchester City making a push for Harry Kane. He hasn't showed up to Tottenham practices. He's getting fined every single day. He doesn't show up, but he's probably going to be at City. And obviously because of the news of Jack Grealish, $100 million transfer from Aston Villa. So that's pretty much guaranteed. And then PSG, I got to throw in a little PSG news in there. Jorginho Wijnaldum, Gianluigi Donnarumma, and Ashraf Hakimi have all been added on transfers. PSG really trying to give Pochettino a much better squad to push forward with, and really trying to convince Mbappe to stay.
But is Wijnaldum really great? I mean, anymore. He was, but I mean, watching him during the Euros, I wasn't all that impressed. Honestly, I thought he was one of the lesser players on the field for the Netherlands. But I love the Harry Kane talk. I know that him and Tottenham are at odds, and that he's about apparently I was reading an article that said they were about $40 million apart in transfer discussions between Man City and Tottenham at this point. So I think you're right. I think he's gone. A name that I haven't heard in a long time, Rafael Varane, man. That guy's great. He's great. He's been at Real Madrid his whole career, right? Yeah. So wow. So that's a first move. So good for United. Honestly, I if I had to support a team, it'd be Tottenham. But I just like watching any United States men's national team player. So I became a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll see what happens with that, and obviously there's going to be a lot more. But I don't believe any of the transfer news until I see the player on the official website with the jersey. Because there's just so many rumors with European soccer talk. It's always rumor mill.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, just like everything, right?
Yeah, so, pretty much.
Yeah.
But anyway, Vic, do you want to get into anything else before we close?
No. Just again, World Cup qualifying coming up in September. Can't wait for that. Football, I believe, started tonight. NBA free agency, obviously, what happened tonight. It feels so weird that we weren't able to talk about the draft, pre-draft, and all the MLB trade deadline news as soon as it went down. But I'm glad we're back. This felt like the first show again.
I felt rusty, sure.
I know I felt it. So welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching or listening. I appreciate it.
All right, I just want to give a couple shout outs. A-Rod, thank you so much for showing up today. We love your pod too. Kyle, always much love. And obviously Average Kirk, please follow Average Kirk Cooks on YouTube, on TikTok, all that. He's TikTok famous. He makes amazing food. Follow him also on Instagram. And for Alex Rodriguez, follow the Fairweather Pod on Instagram and on YouTube. You can also find their podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and I believe YouTube as well. They don't go live. They're not as cool as us, but still, we'll probably be on their pod soon talking some statistics. But anyway, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to Townie Sports. We are so excited to be back for season 2. We thank each and every one of you for tuning in each week. We love you and thank you for choosing us for your listening pleasure each and every week. Yeah. And in case you haven't noticed, or in case you don't click enough, or in case you missed us too much, please go back to the House of Fandom site, click it, and you will see that the House of Fandom broke down Superman. And I believe their show is every Friday. Am I correct, Clark? He may not be here right now, but I believe they do a show every Friday, 8 p.m., where they've been every Thursday. I apologize. Every Thursday, 8 p.m., they break down some awesome movies, and they just recently did Superman. So if you haven't checked that out, please check it out. And you better tune in to the House of Fandom for all your movie news. So with that being said, I'm Sammy, your host, along with my boy Vic. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey, Wally and Sandstorm.
How we roll. Hey.
Yeah.
I got my shoes high and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted. You know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
I got my shoes high and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted. You know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
Homicidal clothes cause I'm dressed to kill. Leave 6 bitches oohing cause I'm worth a mil. Flow is ill, spitting no vomit spill. Killing them softly, but I ain't Lauren Hill. I'm a Beantown boy with a Trigger City mind state. Leaving hoes surprised like they going on a blind date. Had that ass spinning, best believe that booty gyrate. Come fresh to the game, so y'all lanes better migrate. Versatile cat, so I flow on the South Beat. Spit so hard I fuck around and hurt my teeth. My vision stays clear, why y'all looking cloudy? Yeah, I spit fire, but misses don't doubt me. Jumping hard on tracks, call me steroided rabbit. Consistently murder beats like a serial killer's habit. Drop his flows, so I took the game and stabbed it. Copy my style, but it's too hot for you to grab. I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.
This is how we roll.
I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.
Wally, yeah. As I take another pull from my Cohiba, overlooking green fields full of reefer. My suit say let it soul on my cufflinks, similar to Jay-Z and Puffy. I ain't saying that I wanna be like them. I'm getting fat stacks while your paper's so thin. Look within the eyes of a hustler. I need me a mansion so I can buy a butler. This is the classics, so put me in the classified. I'm extra so she suck me like a pacifier. Old school Chevrolet, riding up the interstate. Bitches give me crazy love, niggas want a hard hit. Pussy nigga try me and you gon' get a scar face. Ain't no way I'm getting caught, that's gon' be a hard case. That baby girl, my 38, my trigger finger on the cake. Shoot you niggas in the face, you gon' see the pretty
I got my shoes high, and my jeans low. I got my socks fitted, you know how I roll.